So, you finished your draft manuscript, but you're worried the story is a little thin. 2 weeks ago, I talked about editing a bloated manuscript, paring back the story to its core message and cutting the fluff to keep readers immersed and engaged. For the overwriters of the world, the folks who stuff every thought they have into their manuscripts, allow themselves to meander and spiral and backtrack before moving forward, careful and conscious cutting is often the name of the editing game. On the other side of a bloated manuscript, though, is an emaciated manuscript, a manuscript that needs a sandwich or seven, a manuscript that lacks the finer details, the descriptions, commentary, and emotions that make the story feel like more than words on the page. Humans love a bit of fluff, and why shouldn't we? We live in a culture of abundance to the point of indulgence. We pack too many pairs of pants for weekend getaways, stash away too many books to read during the commute, we eat too much, work too much, and worry too much. But when it comes to writing, the reversal sometimes happens. Not enough. This video explores how to identify an underwritten or emaciated manuscript and offers 3 ways to fluff your manuscript to meet reader word count expectations. Some writers treat words like rare commodities, using words so sparingly that their characters are robbed of their depth, the nuance and meaning of their journeys lost. A few weeks ago, I shared Word Count by Genre, a guide for novelists, which describes some common genres and their average target word count ranges. If you watched that video and heard alarm bells because your manuscript doesn't come close to the low-end word counts shared, you may be an underwriter. But before you embrace underwriter panic and start shoveling words into your manuscript for the sake of word count adherence, ask yourself, is my story truly done? As I shared in When to Stop Revising, you know when your story is finished when you've said what you needed to say within the text on the page. So if your manuscript is lean, but the story is all there, understand that you may have written a novella or a short story, not a novel. Adding too many words then may be a mistake. If, however, after a period of reflection, you determine that you did, in fact, underwrite a novel-length book, it's time to address the bare spots, add the missing bits, and fill out the story for your readers. Ever met a person you just couldn't click with? You met them through a friend, maybe, at a party held in a home that wasn't yours. Your friend seemed to like the person, but you just couldn't get a read on them, couldn't figure out what they were thinking, didn't know whether they were being genuine, couldn't tell if they were one of your people. Connecting with a fictional character often means connecting to the way the character thinks or feels about their world and what is happening in it. When we relate to characters, we feel like we know them, like we've seen their inner chaos and found it suits our own inner turmoil, gives language to our emotional state. We click like new acquaintances having a shared experience. All literary points of view, except the objective person, require you to infuse your story with your character's thoughts and emotions, to allow your reader to glimpse the interiority of character, especially during pivotal moments. To begin fluffing your manuscript, start by identifying the major moments that mean something to your characters and that you want to mean something to your readers. Are your characters struggling with something they're not sharing or thinking about something they're not acting on? Do they have internal thoughts that undermine their dialogue? Are they honest or dishonest? As you answer these questions, you may identify the key details that will both get your reader closer to your character and increase that almighty word count. When novels are underwritten, the writing tends to focus on plot events, action, and physical movement. But this action packing often comes at the expense of the descriptions that make your story come alive for the reader. While readers may be on the edge of their seats, they may have no idea where they're headed, what road they're on, if they're even in a car. As such, readers may feel disconnected from the characters and their world. Newton's third law of motion says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And the law isn't limited to physics. It's broadly applicable to humans and life. External events affect the way we feel about and operate within the world. Our internal states affect how we present ourselves in external environments. That's the great balance, yin and yang. If your novel is a series of events and actions, ask yourself whether you've given your characters, and thus your readers, adequate processing time to understand what has happened, what it means, and how it affects the next step. If not, consider adding some scenes or paragraphs within scenes that allow readers to slow down, reflect, ask those important questions, even if they go unanswered for a time, and breathe. World building, especially in contemporary stories, can be rather contentious, though it's a necessity for immersive storytelling. Without proper world building, readers won't understand where your characters are or how their world affects them. They also won't understand why the world is important to your characters, why they'd wish to defend it, for example, or preserve it. But exactly how much detail needs to be included when readers already live in the story world and are likely to recognize the character archetypes, if not the characters themselves, in it? Let me ask you this. Is your story fragile or durable? A fragile story exists for a moment and is a stamp of culture at a given time, irrespective of what came before and what is likely to come after. Fragile stories may not include enough world building because the expected pop culture reader is expected to understand the story world intuitively since they already live there. However, a durable story persists through time, carries forward a universal message or truth from the present moment into the hoped-for future. Durable stories must include adequate world building so the reader, 50 years from now, knows from what cultural moment the story was born and intuits thus how to translate the story culture into the reader's current cultural zeitgeist and inform their present experience. There's a piece from Writer's Digest that unpacks world building in more depth and is worth diving into if you need specific ways to add world building details to your story world for durability and longevity based on the kind of story you've written. And I've included a link to that article in the article on the MetaStellar website. Providing your readers with a few details, even if your storytelling style is rather sparse, can help your readers understand your characters as human beings, determine how they feel about your story and its implications, and how they encounter not only your fictional world, but the culture in which they live, no matter when they encounter your novel. If you need a little more information to help fluff your story to reach those word count genre expectations, check out these related videos. Writing Humanity in the Digital Age, Writing Fiction Scenes That Work, 4 Magical Must-Haves for Fantasy Stories, and Show Don't Tell Your Story. Here's how. So, how do you fill out an emaciated manuscript? Share your methods below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with others if you found it helpful. Happy writing!